Once upon a time, there lived a young wealthy man named Ndubisi. Ndubisi was a very wealthy businessman in the village. He was known by all, including the neighboring villages, towns, and kingdoms. And as a traditional man, he was opportune to marry more than one wife. Ndubisi had three wives, and their names were Ebube, Ako, and Nneka. And each wife had children for him. Ebube had three sons and one daughter. Ako, the second wife, had two daughters with no sons, while Nneka, the last wife, had two sons with one daughter. Ndubisi was very wealthy that he had a huge mansion that can accommodate almost half of the villagers, with large rooms and quarters for his wives and children, while Ndubisi stays alone in his room, and none of his wives were allowed to enter his room except when invited at night for couples intimacy. The only person that accessed his room freely was Uche. Uche had been working for Ndubisi for a very long time, even before Ndubisi married Ebube, his first wife. Uche lost his parents at an early age, and because he was too very young then and had no one to care for him, Ndubisi decided and took him in and cared for him till he was matured enough and assigned him as his personal assistant. Then Ndubisi was not wealthy as he was today. Ndubisi was a man with a golden heart. He was not only popular, but also a helping hand to everyone in and out of the village, and that made so many people love and wished him well. It was Ndubisi's birthday, and he was celebrated in a grand style like a king. Men that matters from far and near were present on that joyful day to celebrate him. His three wives were in charge of the food, as all three of them prepared the food together as instructed by their husband Ndubisi. Everyone in the village attended the birthday party, and they were all happy, for there was enough to eat, drink, and take home. And they were also entertained with dance, music, and lots more. There were many guests that day, and that includes his family and friends and his wife's family and friends. And they were all invited by Ndubisi, and it was a great day and a memorable one as well. The next morning, after the celebration, the maids and the wives were all busy putting things together after all the guests had left to their respective homes. That afternoon, one of Ndubisi's sons asked to know the whereabouts of his father, for it's been hours after the celebration and they haven't seen him anywhere in the house. And besides, he was supposed to attend a business meeting that day. Chibundo asked and said to the maid. Chibundo was the second son of Ebube, the first wife. He might still be in his room, resting. The maid replied, in his room since morning, when he had a very important business meeting today? That can't be, because I know my father very well. He's not the type that jokes with his business or anything that would fetch him money. Chibundo said, and at once he ordered the maid to check his father's room to confirm if he was there or probably gone for the meeting. But the maid refused to go in because they had no access to Ndubisi's room except Uche. They searched everywhere in the house, but they couldn't find Uche. He was sent on an errand this morning by Chisom's mother. Chisom was the only daughter of Nneka and sister to Ago and Kanu. They waited for Uche to come back before they could enter Ndubisi's room. And not up to few minutes, Uche entered the house. Then they went straight to Ndubisi's room. When Uche entered the room, he screamed out loud. And at that moment, the rest of the family's attention were drawn closer. Immediately, the maid and Chibundo rushed in to know why Uche was screaming, and then the rest followed. They saw Ndubisi in a pool of blood on his bed. Uche held his hands to check if he was still breathing, but Ndubisi was long gone. With the color of the blood, one can tell that he was killed before that morning. Chibundo then went closer to look at his father with tears in his eyes. Then he noticed some holes in his father's shirt, and that was when they knew that he was stabbed multiple times that resulted to his death. Now, the question is, who stabbed Ndubisi and why? That will be known in our next story. Please stay tuned and don't miss any of the parts. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to support our channel by subscribing, like and share. See you soon in our next story. Bye.